everyone thinks, oh, well, it's a $50,000 bribe. You know, the amount of assets that this organization, it's a transnational criminal organization. It's not just U.S., it's global. And their long game, which is, I think, about to happen. I'll just say, give you a preview. There's two ways this comes out. It comes out truthfully, and it's quite clear that these non-human intelligences and craft are not hostile. If they were hostile with the technologies that they have, we'd be gone. We would have been gone in August of 1945 when we detonated the first atomic bomb. It had been over. However, they have spent a lot of money and time over the last 70 years staging, you know, false alien threats. So let me start ticking these off for you. The abduction syndrome, totally a staged CIA and other corporate event. One of the men that we have who come forward recently was abducted by a Raytheon triangular craft, he and his wife, and suffered terrible injuries back in 2000, 2001. So that is not in dispute. We can prove what I just said. The animal mutilations everyone hears about, those are 100% man. Those are human. They're all portrayed as alien. Then you have the sort of frightening stories of these objects being down in, developing world countries, blowing up a whole village. That's us. We've done that. Now, how are we doing it? Well, here's just one example of a man. Now you can see this. This is in the flash drive I gave you. Mm-hmm. So this is a craft that Mr. Herrera was on a Marine platoon, and this was in 2009 in Indonesia. They were on a humanitarian mission. So they go out there. I wanted to bring Mr. Herrera here, but he had a work conflict. And he and his 6 guys went off in a direction, came across in the jungle that object, this. Now, there's a black and white version. We have a color. But the point I'm making is this object, man-made, staffed with some kind of covert human operators without proper military insignia. And in the crate there, we found out from this new whistleblower, this because he was at that conference at the National Press Club in June of 2023 when Mr. Herrera disclosed this. He was threatened to be killed by all these guys who were there. And then this crate, he thought they were transporting drugs. And then this new whistleblower came up and said, no, those are human assets in there. These are people that have been taken to be trained as a psionic operator. And a psionic operator is someone who, they pump them up full of drugs. Most of them end up dying or end up in a coma. Some of them survive. And they're used to use their, what I was talking about before, consciousness and thought to latch onto the guidance systems of a non-human craft. And people say, this sounds like science fiction. Yeah, well, you're not dealing with a Boeing 777. You're dealing with civilizations hundreds of thousands of years more advanced with technologies commensurate to having socially, spiritually, and technologically evolved for that long and not blown themselves up like we're about to. So those civilizations are at that point where they can have thought, consciousness, mind, technology interface as easily as you and I pick up a cell phone and talk, which would have been magic. One thing I tell people, step out of this little slice of time we're in and realize if you were to go back to Thomas Jefferson and show them your smartphone and video conference someone, well, if you were in Salem, Massachusetts, you'd be burned at the stake as a witch because it would look like, witchcraft. To us, it's an everyday thing. Flipping on a light switch, no one thinks about it. It'd be magic to someone 1,000 years ago. So imagine, now let's extrapolate that technology curve into the future, a few 100,000 or 1,000,000 years. What do you think you're going to have? You're not going to have what everyone's expecting. And this is the blind spot of scientists, frankly. They're always looking at right now or in the rearview mirror. And when you're encountering a civilization's non-human intelligence is this advanced, you've got to put everything you know on a shelf because we don't know anything. I mean, we're like half a step out of the jungle scientifically. But these covert engineering programs that started studying this back in the 40s and 50s, they have all this. I mean, they have figured all that part of it out. And however much you think is sitting out there in the desert, it's 100 times more.